Look, said it in the previous video, but I'm gonna say it again. One of my pet peeves is when people do stuff that they know is wrong. They know they have no business doing. Now, I'm not talking about kids, and I'm talking about grown folks. You know you have no business doing it. You get caught, get jammed up, you start crying, hooting and hollering. I hate that. That gets on my nerves because you wasn't crying when you was doing what you was doing. So don't cry when you get confronted with the consequences. You feel me? Don't do all that crying. I don't know. It just bothered me. That it get on my nerves. That's probably one of my, if I have any pet peeves like that. That's probably up there around like something like that. But anyway, this one right here, I did one with convicts getting life sentences and crime. But this is one is just specifically female convicts getting a life sentence, and then they having some type of outburst, freaking out, something like that. So with no further ado, I'm not gonna hold y'all too much longer. Let's get into the video. Still going to jail,
I don't care
bro.
how much of a tough guy you think you are, this woman is scary. She was a mother of 4 children, but she sadly took out 2 of them. This includes her 9-year-old named Steven and her 13-year-old named Stoney. The cops actually found their bodies in a freezer, which is really messed up. Now, unsurprisingly, she was sentenced to life behind bars with
First off, how you kill your own kids? How you kill your own kids, and then on top of that, you know how sick of an individual you have to be to not only kill your own kids, especially because you're supposed to have a different type of love. I don't know, because I don't have children, but I'm assuming you're supposed to have a different type of love for your kids, man. They're you know what I mean? They came out of you. You helped. This is your creation in a way. And you kill them, and then not only that, you stuff them in your freezer. You got to be a different type of sicko, a different type of weirdo.
No parole. This means no matter how good her behavior is in
that's
prison, she will
with
never be getting out.
Yeah,
in court, she freaked out many times at the judge.
Shut up. What?
She also screamed about exactly why she did what she did. She said that her daughter had been mean to her other kids. But the court found 0 evidence of that. And throughout her very public trial, she had to be kicked out of court many times.
You get your shit. You know we had to beg you. Me, Steve, all of us used to cry for you.
What?
You're not gonna be able to stand by it. There are rules.
Man, tell you so.
This one is called the Miami Screamer.
Okay.
But this one's a lot more serious than the substance charge from before. This woman was arrested for taking out her husband. She met with the judge during her bail hearing in 2013. She applied for a bond, but the judge said no. And when she was denied, she realized she would likely be spending the rest of her days in a prison cell. And that's when she freaked out and had this reaction. As you can hear, she screams that she simply had to do what she did because of self-defense. She even says her husband broke her leg. I'm not sure whether she's telling the truth or not, but her reaction is intense. Tatiana Fasari. This one involves a 27-year-old woman named Tatiana and her husband. Both her and her husband Seth Welch were charged with taking a life. That's because their own daughter passed away because of a lack of food and water. When they saw their child was starving, they didn't seek any medical help. They said they didn't do this because of religious reasons, but I don't know any religion that says don't seek medical help. When they heard their charge, they had a very intense reaction. Seth's jaw drops and Tatiana begins crying.
It requires a DNA sample to be taken upon arrest, which is often like a cotton swab or in the inside of your cheek. They're talking about this Mary Welch. It is a felony. Possible penalty.
See, that's the thing. Yeah. I can't be no judge. Because I would get reprimanded. I'd be very upset because you wasn't crying when that little girl was starving. You wasn't crying when you wasn't giving her no water. But now that you about to face the consequences, you want to cry in my face. And I'm glad she's doing the silent crying, because all that hooting and hollering, that would have blew me, bro. You wasn't doing none of that crying. You wasn't doing none of that crying when your baby couldn't eat. People own me, bro.
They will be spending the rest of their lives in jail. But is this called for, seeing as they did let their daughter pass away? Alexandria Thomas. This is another mother-daughter freakout in court. It took place at the Palm Beach County Jail in Florida. She had used a blade and injured her boyfriend outside a supermarket in Florida. She was arrested and did not know how he was doing. But that's when the judge told her in court that her boyfriend was in a medically induced coma, and he likely was not gonna make it. That was when she realized how serious what she'd done was. Her mother began to freak out, and then she began freaking out as well.
Wait, I gotta hear the backstory. Is there no backstory? What happened?
Out in court. It took place at the Palm Beach County Jail in Florida. She had used a blade and injured her boyfriend outside a supermarket in Florida. She was arrested and did not know how he was doing. But that's when the judge told her in court that her boyfriend was in a medically induced coma, and he likely was not gonna make it. That was when she realized how serious what she'd done was. Her mother began to freak out, and then she began freaking out as well.
Alexandria Thomas.
Her mother was later recorded outside the courtroom shaking and crying.
Yeah, I know her mama heard.
Erica Maybetts and Shanita Larice Cunningham. This is a double freakout in court. They'd both injured a toddler named Serenity Richardson, and this led to the toddler passing away. Erica was actually the godmother of the child, and her and her girlfriend Shanita began to really injure this kid. The girl was sadly only 3 years old, so she couldn't defend herself. They both said in court that they didn't think they would take the toddler's life, but they did, and were thus sentenced to life behind bars.
It doesn't matter though. It doesn't matter. She's 3 years old. What could she possibly have done for you to even want to cause harm? Look, first off, I want y'all to see how pretty that little girl was. Look how pretty that little girl is. Look how beautiful that little girl is. And y'all injured and hurt this little girl for what? What could a 3-year-old possibly, you're grown. What could a 3-year-old possibly have done to you for you to take that little girl's life? And you're supposed to, I hope this not the mother and the godmother, because it's about to blow me. I gotta start doing videos like this, because this aggravates me. What could a 3-year-old have possibly done? For you to act in a manner to where you think we want to hurt her but not kill her. What could a 3-year-old possibly have done? Peed the bed, spilled her drink, spilled her food, accidentally broke something. What could a 3-year-old possibly have done to receive that type of consequences, that type of punishment? For what? I can't be no judge. Officer Taser, for no reason. Susan
Richardson, and this led to the toddler passing away. Erica was actually the godmother of the child, and her and her girlfriend Shanita began to really injure this kid. The girl was sadly only 3 years old, so she couldn't defend herself. They both said in court that they didn't think they would take the toddler's life, but they did, and were thus sentenced to life behind bars. When their sentences were read out, they freaked out in court.
She's talking about Erica, I love you. Look how she's screaming.
They were crying and screaming, and then they both collapsed onto the floor. Erica's mum then begins screaming and crying, and she has to be removed from court.
Okay, I can feel the mother's pain. I can feel, because you never want to see your baby get carried off to jail or be gone for the rest of their life. But at the same time, the two on trial or whatever, I can't. Yeah, I don't have the heart. I feel like you have to have a steel trap as a heart, a steel trap. Your heart and mind got to be sound. I think to be a judge, to work in the courtroom. I don't have it. I'm too soft-hearted. I feel too much for people. I couldn't do it. That in the hospital, I can't do that either. But with all this, yeah, I'll get fired as a judge because I'm helping the police. I'm taking about her feet. I'm talking about you lift, I lift. I'm helping. I have no sympathy for this. This right here, this tomfoolery, this foolishness right here, I don't have sympathy for it. I don't want to hear none of that hollering, none of that crying. Now, if the mama crying, okay, I understand. But them two, to my Erica, I love you. Nah, I'm cool. You lift that in, I lift this in. Open the door. Yeah, I'm helping. I ain't got time for it.
Devil Reserva.
And she not even passed out. She just sitting there.
They're then both removed from the court in wheelie chairs. And it's probably the most intense thing you're going to see all day.
Yeah,
Regina Johnson.
Kicked the chair
Regina
right down
took
the
the life of her husband and her daughter. This took place in 2012. And she was sentenced to 80 years behind bars. Considering she was already in her 50s, this means she'll spend the rest of her days in a cell. After doing what she did, she stayed with the bodies for 3 days. Regina went totally crazy, like something out of a movie. She had written on a mirror with red lipstick, "This is all your fault." Now, Regina's version of the events were quite different. She said that her husband had taken her daughter's life, and then in self-defense, she'd taken her husband's life. But the court did not believe this, and they found she was guilty of taking both lives. When she was sentenced, she got very angry. She said there's no way to prove it.
They never proved anything. Nobody ever said, they never even had a motive. Why? How can you?
But why would you write on the mirror and lipstick? It's like a horror film. What is going on? I don't understand people's minds sometimes. Why would you write on the mirror and lipstick, "This is all your fault"? Ma'am, we're waiting. Why? I don't understand. This is... It's crazy how crazy some people are. Why would you... "This is all your fault" in lipstick. I can't be a cop either now I'm thinking about it. Well, not that I want to be. I don't want to be no cop anyway, but I can't be... Because some of the stuff that they have to see, and so I'm walking the house, blood and stuff on the floor, and I look in the mirror and say, "This is all your fault." I'm cool. I'm not sleeping for the next 3 days. I couldn't do it. I don't want no job in law enforcement. I don't know. But yeah, she had to explain that. I don't even think I ended the trial until she explained that one. If your story is as valid as you say it is, why'd you write down the mirror, ma'am?
And she also said, "I have no respect for you as a judge."
When I shot him because he shot my daughter. She's not fair. What kind of judge is that? I have no respect for you.
Jody Herring.
That's cool.
Jody Herring had her daughter taken away from her by a social worker. She was so angry about this that she took the life of that social worker. As she was leaving work, Laura Sobel was taken out by Herring. Herring then went on to take out 3 of her own relatives. She basically went on an insane rampage.
That's why they took your daughter,
because she had her daughter taken away from her.
Puffs.
Now, she tried to plead insanity, hoping she wouldn't go to prison. In court, she was crying and saying she was sorry.
I can't take back that day. I wish I could, but I can't. I handle my stress so differently.
Ain't nobody trying to hear that, Triple H. Listen. That's why they took your daughter. You cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You killed the social worker. But you're not blaming yourself for the social worker having to be there in the first place. The social worker not popping up for no reason. The social worker is not popping up for no reason. And what your 3 relatives, unless your 3 relatives were the ones that called the social... Let me go back. Were her 3 relatives the ones that called the social worker? Let me see.
She took the life of that social worker. As she was leaving work, Laura Sobel was taken out by Herring. Herring then went on to take out 3 of her own relatives. She basically went on an insane rampage.
Yeah, for what?
She wanted revenge because she'd had her daughter taken away from her. Now, she tried to plead insanity, hoping she wouldn't go to prison. In court, she was crying and saying she was sorry.
I can't take back that day. I wish I could, but I can't. I handle my stress so differently than...
Hey, her cry voice is disgusting though. Her cry voice is gross. She sounds like Kermit the Frog. I don't even want to hear it. That's... You have to change that up.
Anybody else does. And I wish I could help myself. I really could. I asked for help several times.
Laura Sobel's sister said she does not deserve a day of liberty. Do you agree with this?
She don't.
Whether you do or don't, the judge definitely did and sentenced her to life behind bars. But now it's time for you to make your voice heard. Do you agree with people getting life sentences?
Of
Some
course.
say it's fair while others say it's too long.
Yeah,
Vote in the
okay.
poll in the top right corner
Okay.
and let me know.
Okay.
If you
Okay. They say it's too long until one of their family members get taken or something like that. Yeah, shut up. I ain't trying to hear none of that. But anyway, like I was saying, I don't get people. I don't get people's mindsets. What was the reason? And I know sometimes that don't really matter. But what was the reason? Please let me know. Because I'm not understanding. But anyway, I'm about to go eat. That's going to be it for my reaction, y'all. If you enjoyed this reaction, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. And I'll be back with you guys next time. I'm out.